Welcome back to yet another episode of What's Your Thought. In this episode, we're going to be discussing how youths, or we as youth, should be building a relationship with our pastor. And for that topic, I decided to get Uncle Eric, or otherwise known as Brother Eric in our church. He teaches the Sunday school. Thank you so much for being on the show, Uncle Eric.
Thank you for inviting me for the show.
Uncle Eric has been a strong member in this church for quite a while now. He's been here long before, and I trust that he'll be here long after I'm here. And he's been someone who has helped me personally grow in my Christian walk a lot, and he's someone that I hold very, very high regards for. And one thing I see in his life that is definitely there is that he has relationship with his pastor. So I decided to call and have a discussion with him regarding that topic. So Uncle Eric, regarding this topic, let's open it up and ask with our first question. What do you think personally are the benefits of having a relationship with your pastor?
Well, let me first start by saying that I've known my pastor even before he was a pastor. So he was a new convert. And I've seen his life as a new convert, in ministry, a new disciple, and finally being ordained as a pastor. So it's been a real privilege, that he's been a blessing in our lives, my wife and me, see. So the thing is, to answer your question, the benefits of being a pastor, of having a relationship with your pastor, I would say that who better to have someone who can speak words of wisdom in your life, giving good godly advice, and basically just to help you through situations that you needed proper guidance and all that. So I have the privilege of knowing a pastor, my pastor actually. So he has actually helped me throughout many situations in my life. So these are some of the benefits that I wanted to share. But the most important thing it boils down to actually is to having mutual trust and respect for one another.
That's very interesting, Uncle Eric. But what if you find yourself in a place where you don't feel like you can trust your pastor, or you don't feel like your pastor is worthy of your trust yet, or maybe you just haven't gotten to the point yet?
Well, I never actually came to a point of me having relationship issues with my pastor, because the thing is, let's say for example, if this question is in relation of how does one get to find out whether the relationship with the pastor is real or not, you see. So the thing is, a pastor is ordained and to be a shepherd over you. So of course, we are under their guidance, and we are basically getting them to help us through and giving good godly advice and to lead us in the good godly direction that we need to. But on the other hand, we also have to be rather obvious, or rather observant to the way a livelihood of a pastor, how he reacts to his character, to the whether he actually practices what he preaches, and how he reacts, and through his words and his actions and so on. So I've had the privilege of knowing my pastor ever since he was a young convert, and all throughout this time I've known him and his wife to actually stay true to the cause, and they've actually been really doing what they're supposed to do. And there is basically it boils down to being able to see one's character and through his actions and his words, and all throughout his life I'm able to see that. So these are some of the things that you look out for. So to answer your question, to trust a pastor, that depends on one and every individual actually, because I cannot give you a straightforward answer that, hey, it's going to be like this, like that, and so on. It's going to take time for you to know, but these are the certain points that you look out for. Things that how they react, how they act, and basically practices what he preaches. And he's been true to the cause.
I actually have a question for you.
Sure.
You said you knew, I'm going to say my dad.
Okay, all right.
He is the pastor of the church, but he's also my dad.
Yeah.
But was it weird when he became a pastor and you just know him as like a disciple? Was it weird when he became a pastor? How did you feel when
because
that transition happened?
We are in a church that actually believes in church planting and disciple making, you see. So the thing is that everyone has to go through a process as a new convert. You either come in and then you're in ministry and so on. So we all have a different calling. Either you are in praise and worship, or you are in some ministry in a church, or music, or drama, or whatever. And others, maybe their calling could be being a preacher. So the thing is, obviously, I didn't look at it as something shocking, or or something like oh, he's going to be my pastor and so on. But the thing is, as you look throughout their lives and how they acted throughout the time, or how a person behaves through their words and actions and all that. So, and also that if it's their calling, then it so be it. I mean, it's not that you get shocked with something like that. Yeah.
That's good.
I really like what you said just now. Like, it wasn't even part of my original discussion to have this, but like, you mentioned that like you be able to see your pastor's life, our pastor's life, and seen how you grow. The Bible, Matthew chapter 7 verse 15 to 20, it says, "Beware of false prophet who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. You will know them by their fruits. Do men gather grape from thorn bushes, or figs from thistles? Even so, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Therefore, by their fruits you will know them."
Correct. So because you are able to see throughout his life, you see. So for me, like I said, from his words and actions and so on, even him and his wife, throughout these years, they've been true to the cause. We've been seeing them, how they act, how they come to church, how they interact with people, how they live their life. So it's pretty evident, Yeah.
So, what are the benefits you have in your own life from having a relationship with your pastor? Have you got any, as Keenan would like to say, wisdom from this?
Wisdom. We all need wisdom, Yeah, but the thing is, because I've known my pastor for so many years, right? So he's more, besides my pastor, is also a friend to me, and also considered a family member to me. So this goes like a long way back, you see. So, of course, there are certain times where I require counseling, or I require some words of wisdom in certain matters and all that. And it really, speaking to him has really helped me, because he's been a pastor for so many years, counseling people, and helping, people with planning with different situations in life and things that may help. And of course, when we have a need, and we are praying for a need or something, we have got a pastor to intercede for us. And besides that, of course, he has helped me in many areas. So these are some of the things that have helped me throughout my years of knowing him. Yeah.
That's really good to hear.
Sometimes I also like to put in things that, like, sometimes throughout your Christian walk, like, it's hard. Like, not everybody makes it in the end.
Correct,
and like
correct.
having your pastor just every now and then to not saying that
Having a
to,
shepherd that is true to the cause. I mean, I'm privileged to have that. I mean, there are, churches that you see, because of a pastor and a wrong decision that's been made, and it caused the whole church to go a separate direction and all that. So
that's right.
I'm fortunate, to have a pastor who is actually, is basically the word I would always use is true to the cause. But enough of you asking me a question. Let me ask Alyssa, being a daughter of a pastor now, you tell what benefits do you, what benefits can you say, or can you share?
Well, I do have a lot of benefits from my dad being a pastor.
Right.
But there are times where it is hard, because he is my dad. So it's like asking him a question or needing counseling, it can be scary, because I don't know if he's coming to me as a dad or a pastor,
Right.
But throughout my whole life, my whole 18 years of living, I have gotten a lot of good advice from my dad, and hearing things that really have helped me throughout my life. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been good. How about you, Keenan? You spend a lot of time with my dad.
Yes, Keenan, please share with us.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, well, for me, I didn't really have a very strong relationship with my pastor until the recent years. Is that when I first got saved, I had my discipler teacher Joel, or not Pastor Joel. But then when Pastor Joel left, I asked him like, what advice do you have for me? He said like, Keenan, you need to build a relationship with your pastor. And so that's what I did. I listened to my discipler, and over the course of time, like slowly getting to know, I really see the wisdom in what Teacher Joel said to me. There's many times where I'm just unsure and like lost in my Christian walk, and I go to pastor, and that like advice, that clarity that comes from talking to him is just like a whole new other dimension. Sometimes I just mess up like really, really badly, and
you feel
everything.
everything all jumbled up in there, and you wouldn't know which part to actually take, you see?
Yeah, and I'm like lost, and then he just like, he was able to see through all that jumble and that mess, and just straight away say, this is what you need to do, and this is what you know. And sometimes those choices are hard, but like, a lot of these times I wouldn't be able to figure out where I'm going or what I'm going to do without him. And then there's sometimes where it's just, at my low points in my Christian walk, where pastor just says, you're gonna get through this, you're gonna what, and that encouragement really means a lot to me.
Correct. And as a disciple, of course, you have to you have to have mutual trust and respect for your pastor, right? And if you're going to trust him, then you got to trust him all the way.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, all of us are flawed people, and all of us, even our pastor is human, and we are human, and like generally in human relationships, there are struggles, there are like more points of low points and difficult points. Have you ever struggled in your relationship with your pastor, Uncle Eric?
Well, as far as I know, I've never actually had that situation where I've struggled with a relationship or had a strained relationship. But on my side, it's a very short answer that I can give you, because I never actually went through that. For me, I trusted my pastor. I trusted him to guide me, and I trusted him to lead me in the direction I wanted to. Because the thing is, at the beginning, I've already mentioned trust and respect. So if you're going to trust someone to lead you, trust a man of God who's been ordained to guide over you. So then you got to do that all the way, not just as and when you see that it's right.
Mm-hmm.
But what about those youth who are starting to come to church? They've been in church for a year, but they still struggle with trusting their pastor. What advice would you like to give them?
Well,
to help them,
of course, growing up as a youth, I wasn't under guidance of a pastor, so I got saved at my early age, even late 20s. But the thing is, to speak on behalf of a youth, to be under guidance of a pastor, I think the things you should look out for, first of all, you need to have mutual respect for each other, mutual respect and trust for each other. And if you're going to place yourself under the guidance of a pastor, I would say to the youths nowadays that, or basically any youth, placing yourself under their trust is one thing, but also observe the way of life, or observe their character. I'm not saying that just because he's your pastor, you need to blindly follow him or anything, but you also have to see his character and all that, whether he's moving in a godly way, whether he practices what he preaches. And these are the points that you look out for, and then that he's true to the cause, and then you just of course you have to pray that God puts you under the guidance of a person who's really into preaching and into discipling a person. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Uncle Eric. So, a short pause. We're going to have to interrupt this part. This is fantastic conversation that we're having here for our next segment, the good news segment, where we're having a returning guest, a wonderful testimony. I'll let you guys get into this good news section.
Hi there. Hi there, everyone. How's everyone doing? My name is Jennifer. My husband and I have been saved for almost 20 over years. And I would like to share my testimony today. So this happened during rally. Recently we had our rally, and I was so excited for rally. I've been waiting for this for almost 2.5 years. This is the first rally for our church, and I was so ready for the rally, so ready to praise and worship God. And then on the 4th of June, I lost my ear. I couldn't hear anything on both sides of my ears. Both sides of my ears were blocked, and each time I sing, I have to keep pressing my nose in order to hear the music, or to hear the one singing, you see. So for me, praise and worshiping God is very important. And I couldn't do it for almost 1.5 months. I couldn't hear anything. I was so angry. I was so depressed. And after every service, I will just go back home crying because I couldn't praise Him, I couldn't worship Him. But then I realized, I told Jesus, Lord, you heal me according to your time, and I will continue to worship you and praise you. And then I cannot forget the day that He healed me. This was during a worship practice. We had a worship practice, and I just took my mic and I just sang, and both my ears popped, and I could hear the one singing in front. I can hear the music, and I tell you, at that time was the best moment ever. And I was singing as if it was the Sunday morning service, and I cannot forget that day, how He healed me. And I just want to give Jesus all the glory for what He has done, and thank Him for always being by my side. I really hope my testimony will encourage you, and always never give up on Jesus, because He does things according to His time, not yours. And I just want to give Him all the glory. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you so much, Auntie Jennifer, for that excellent segment and what a wonderful testimony. So, as we return back to the topic, I was thinking during the good news segment, and what if we don't see results from having a relationship with our pastor immediately, or like we don't see the results that we've been talking about?
I mean, of course, we are in an instant generation, correct? Everything we want it right now, and all that. So, just like in a prayer, if you're praying for something, you're not going to ask God that I want it now. Of course, sometimes we do, because that's what we do. Of course, every one of us, we want it right then, or we want it like this, or we tell God how we want it done and all that. But that's not how it works. When you want something, or you're praying for something, you of course lift that up in a prayer, or you are actually hoping that it works out in such a way. But the thing is, what you hope for, what you want, is basically not in the will of God, because the thing is, you're praying for something, and He will release it in the blessing in His time and place. So let me just take a few moments to share with you something of whatever I've experienced in relation to the question. About a few years back, I think somewhere in about 2 years ago, I think most of you all know I went through an ordeal in the hospital with an operation which I had. It didn't go well and all that. So when I came out of it, it had a lot of complications. So, and all throughout the time, I kept asking God, or I kept praying for something that, because I want it instant. I want the results to be instant. Why am I going through all these complications? I don't deserve to go through this. I want it like this. Or God, answer me now. Answer me now. Why is this happening? A lot of whys and how I wanted it done, you see. So the thing is, nothing changed. I prayed for it, and after praying for it, I kept asking God, whenever I'm free, or somewhere in my mind, I keep asking, why is this happening? I want it now. Why is nothing working? And so on. So all throughout this time, I kept asking, and there was no result. And then, of course, every now and then, I kept receiving scriptures, messages from the text messages and all that. So, and one scripture actually stood out. And the night before I asked him this question, I'm already going through a situation which I can't take anymore. God, you need to speak to me, to be very clear. I do not know how long this is going to take. Even though I wanted it done, or I wanted this thing solved as soon as possible, but nothing is happening. So God, please speak to me, give me an answer. That was the night before. The morning I received a text. It was Psalm 118, verse 17. It says, because I was going through a very bad situation. So the verse reads, Psalm 118:17 says, you will not die, but live and proclaim what the Lord has done. So that was very clear to me, until God is telling, okay, look, I'm going to pull you out of this, but you need to believe. And once you're out of this, you're going to testify. So it was very clear to me. So my prayer changed that day, as in, from that very moment, my wife and I were praying, it changed. It wasn't like, God, please help me. God, when is this happening? God, why is this happening? All the when and the why stopped, because I put my faith to work by believing in Him. So I believed in Him, and I put my faith to work, and I started thanking Him. I started thanking Him for a miracle that I did not see. So I put my trust and faith in God and I say, God, you are the captain of this ship. You're the captain of my ship. You're going to lead me. I'm going to put my hope and faith in you, and you're going to show me the result. No matter how long it takes, I know I'm in good hands. I'm going to go through this because you're with me all the way. And when I did that, things began to change, because what I understood from my experience is, when we used to read Bible verses, or when we hear the preaching on the pulpit, put your faith to work, those were only words to me. I mean, I know we hear the words, put your faith to work. But here, when I put my faith to work, I actually trusted God and said, I'm going to put my faith in you, Lord, and I'm going to start thanking you already for a miracle that I did not see. So that is, for me, that was my experience of putting my faith to work. So expecting a result immediately is not up to our discretion. When we say we are a Christian, our Christian life is basically based on faith. So we are putting our faith in God, and He will basically open up a blessing or create a way and pull us out and release the blessing in His time and His place. And when I did that, things begin to change in my life, and I begin to see that miracle. You know, the Bible scripture that we're all familiar with. Remember when Peter started walking on the water, and then when he saw Jesus, when he has Jesus on his side and he had his faith and he put it in him and he walked, the minute he let circumstance around him affect him, and then he started sinking. And the first thing Jesus said was what? When he pulled him out, "O ye of little faith." So the word faith, I can't remember how many times was said in the Bible, but many times. Even the lady with the issue of blood, he said, your faith has made you whole. So the word faith is very important. So to answer your question, why we do not see results immediately, we may not. Sometimes we may, sometimes we may not. But basically, we got to put our faith. That's the most important thing. Yeah.
So to restructure your whole statement, because you did give quite an overwhelming story, is that we as youth, when starting out to build a relationship with Pastor, and we don't see those results immediately, that we trust that this is the man that God ordained me to lead me personally in his life, that God has a plan, that he put me together with this pastor for a reason, in order to guide, and that by faith I trust that this pastor is ordained by God to guide me and to show me the way in my Christian walk.
Correct, because you wouldn't come to a church by chance or by luck, or you wouldn't meet a pastor who's guiding you by chance or by luck. God has put you there for a purpose. So you've got to put that trust in God and put your trust in the person who's been ordained by God as a pastor to guide you as a shepherd. So that is why when I started this conversation, I said mutual trust and respect has got to be there in the beginning, even before you start a relationship with a pastor. Yeah. So I thought, my experience, I feel that is pretty important. I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, it's one thing that I really noticed that very early on in the start of this, right, is that not only while I respected my pastor and I trusted my pastor a lot, my pastor did offer me a lot of respect as well as a youth. Correct. And like I was very overwhelmed, and I really felt like it was very genuine and very I really appreciated that he respected me as a person, as a youth, and didn't speak down to me, whereas even from his abundance of experience.
Correct. And as a youth, if let's say you're going to be discipled by a pastor, right? So you've got to be prepared for the good and bad. When I say good and bad, meaning that there are going to be times where yes, you will be praised for your good efforts and so on, but if you're basically not up to or doesn't measure up to what's required, then of course you're going to be ready for the shelling as well.
Yes.
So basically that comes hand in hand actually.
So sometimes when you are praying, sometimes you feel like we're bothering God, know, and you feel like, am I a burden to God? But how do we go about those times where we feel like we're bothering our pastors with so many questions?
Okay. Question about bothering our pastor. Well, first of all, a pastor is basically our shepherd, a person who's been ordained by God to shepherd his flock. Correct. So, of course, when we have something that we needed to speak to or to relate something to a pastor, I can only speak from my experience. Whenever I had something to talk to my pastor, he has always availed his time to us, my wife and me, and even to some of the people in church that I've seen. They have never turned their back, or they never said that, hey, I'll get back to you, or I'll call you back, or I'm running late, or I need to go somewhere or something. They have always availed their time. So I can only speak from my experience with my pastor that he has always availed his time and, of course, helped us throughout situations and spoken to us and spent time trying to help us out and trying to help those the best way possible. But the thing is, another thing you said that whether you're going to burden a pastor or whether you're going to... If you're going to call a pastor at 2 or 3 in the morning, it had better be something to do with life or death. Because you wouldn't want the shelling the next day. End of the day, come on, it's just a human being like everyone, correct?
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah. So, just want to throw that in.
Thank you so much, Uncle Eric. Any questions, Alyssa?
Nah, but it's really good having you here. I hope that a lot of youth will take this to heart and try to build a relationship with their pastor.
Yeah, I just hope that what I shared, is able to help the youths make proper decision in their planning their life and to really see the importance of having a relationship with a pastor, because end of the day, we all need someone who's got a good godly character, within them to be able to guide us and pass it on towards us. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Uncle Eric, for all that you've
You're
been
welcome.
being on this show, taking the time out to come here. Before we close, I just want to make an announcement that we have our services, Wednesday night services, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Prayer is open 1 hour before. Sunday, we have our services, 10:30 a.m. Prayer 1 hour before, as well as 9:30 a.m. And as we have also, if you can't make it out for that, we have a Sunday service at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Prayer 1 hour before at 6 p.m. For more details, we'll be putting it right here, like details with our services. I conduct the youth Bible study that in Brother Marcus's house on some days, on Friday nights at 8 p.m. For more information, you can get my number, which is going to be right here. Martin will edit that in, hopefully, in post. Or maybe like here, or here,
Nah, I
or
didn't
here.
do that.
Okay, yeah. But Martin will figure it out. And for any more information regarding 180, Brian's number will be right here as well for his inquiries. Marcus is rolling his eyes because I'm really taking advantage of our new editing system. So thank you so much for your time once again this week. And I once again this month, and we'll see you next month for another episode of What's Your Thought?